Okay, looking at the last assignment again, what you were asked to do was to draw a graph, get some points on the graph, you know, with a table like that, find the y-intercept, find the axis of symmetry and the vertex, and then draw a picture of the graph by using those points like that. So let me give you a for example here, let's say number 18 from your assignment. So what you should have done, now one thing, as soon as you saw number 18 pop up, it's probably a good idea to go over here on the calculator, right? You put in this new app, EduGraph. Everybody should have that. If you don't, you're wrong. So we tap on that, we go to this. So if it's like this, then you say, oh, I want to do the equations. I want to type in my equation. So you go here, there's equation 1. If you want to get rid of that, you can hit clear, or you can hit clear and save up there. That wipes that out. And now what you want is 2x squared, so the green button is your variable button there, x, I don't see a little square button, so I have to use a little caret, right, to say to the second power like that, x to the second power, 2x squared minus 4, there's a minus sign, there's a 4, so 2x squared minus 4, and then you can go over and look at the graph of it, and then you already know what the graph is going to look like. But what I told you to do was to do this by hand as well. So the way that we do that is we come over here, we look for some points on the graph and get an idea of what the graph is going to look like by choosing points. And by choosing points, I just mean choose some numbers for x. Choose any numbers that you want to for x and just get an idea, you know? Just get an idea, get some points, and if you're not really sure, take some more points and you can figure it out. All right, so all we're doing is we're plugging in, I'm finding f of 0. In other words, I'm putting a 0 in for x. And when I do that, because I let x be 0, that's going to be the y-intercept. So keep that in mind. Put a 0 in for x. We can do this in our head, right? 0 squared is 0, times 2 is 0, minus 4 is negative 4, which is what I expected when I saw this. Obviously, if you let x be 0, y is going to be negative 4. And so, catch up computer, there you go. So the point 0, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is down here somewhere. Okay, so this is the y-intercept. I know it's the y-intercept because x is equal to 0. Now I just chose these other random numbers I came up with to put in for x. 2 squared is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 minus 4 is 4, so when x is 2, f of x is 4. So the point 2, 4 is on here, so 2, 4 is about like this. Doesn't have to be exactly accurate, you know, just estimate these. Put in a negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9, times 2 is 18, minus 4 is 14. So negative 3 gives you 14. So negative 3 is over here, 14 is way up here. So kind of like that. So do you have enough points to see what it's really looking like? I don't know. But at this point, you know, this is why you have this calculator, you have this available to you. Like, oh yeah, that's how it opens like that. So that's what my picture looks like too. And you can see there that, oh, by the way, the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry, remember, x equals negative b over 2a. So here's A, here's B, here's C. Okay, there's no B, right? There's no something times x term. So that means that B is 0. So it's negative 0 over 2 times 2. 0 over 4, of course, is equal to 0. So the axis of symmetry is the line x equals 0, which is the y-axis, or the f of x axis. So if I'm graphing this, I know that the axis of symmetry here, so guess what? The vertex is always on the axis of symmetry. So the vertex is going to be this point that's on there, this right here. This is the vertex of the parabola. It means that that's the turning point. So that's what it's turning. So now we got a good picture now. There's a turning point, it's opening upward. How did I know this was going to open upward? Because A is positive. If A is positive, 2x squared, the number in front of the x squared, that's positive, it's opening upward. Okay, guess what? Since it's opening upward, what are you going to have, a maximum or a minimum? The answer is you're going to have a minimum. Since it opens upward, there's going to be a low point on the graph right there, right? So the minimum point of this graph is whatever this vertex is, 0, negative 4. The minimum, the lowest the graph ever gets is negative 4 because the vertex is 0, negative 4. All right? So that's the type of thing that you should have been doing in the last time's assignment. Okay, So the instructions for today will be to find solve an equation. Solve an equation by graphing. Okay, use this graphing that we've been doing to solve an equation like this. Okay, so you start off with this: x squared plus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. You want to solve this equation. Whenever you want to solve an equation, your final answer is going to be like this. Your final answer is going to be solution set and some number in there, or maybe more than one number. Like any number in the whole world that would make this statement true, that's what you're looking for. Like 1. If you put in a 1, does it make it true? 1 squared is 1, plus 6 is 7, plus 8. So that's 15 is equal to 0. No, it's not true. So 1 is not a solution to this. So we're looking for what kind of numbers can we put into there that would solve this equation, that would make it a true statement. And the first in there is, I'm going to show you several methods of solving this, but the first method I want to show you is the graphing method. Since you know how to graph already, then we're going to solve this by graphing. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to take this equation, you have it in standard form, right? ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. There's a is 1, b is 6, c is 8, equals 0. So it's in standard form. So now we're going to think of it as, all right, well, think about this. What about if instead of equal to 0, if it was equal to f of x? Could you graph that thing again? We've been graphing problems exactly like this. So can you graph this problem? Can you graph this equation? And if you can, then you'll be able to see the solutions on it if you know what to look for. Okay, so once again, let's go through the procedure of how you would graph something like that. You can get some points on it like this. You can think of where's the y-intercept, right? Start off with the y-intercept. Let x be 0. 0 plus 0 plus 8 is equal to 8. So 0, 8 is a point on the graph. Let's do red. 0, 8 is straight up here, like that. Let's find the axis of symmetry. The axis, x equals negative b over 2a. So that's negative 6 over 2 times 1, right? Because b is 6 and a is 1. So negative b over 2a is the axis of symmetry. So the line x equals negative 3. X equals negative 3. So that's like this. 1, 2, 3. There's your axis of symmetry. The line x equals negative 3 is the axis of symmetry. So we know the vertex is going to be on there as well. So let's go ahead and find the vertex by plugging in negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. Positive 9, right? Yep. Positive 9 plus negative 18 is negative 9. Plus 8 is negative 1. I think I did that right. You can do it in slow motion if you want to, but negative 3 squared is positive 9. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. So 9 minus 18 is negative 9. Plus 8 is negative 1. So negative 3, negative 1, then I'm saying that's the vertex. All right? Which way is this going to open? Is it going to open up or down? Well, x squared is positive. It's just 1x squared, so it's opening upward. And now you can see with this point over here. Let me show you something else about mirror images, about an axis of symmetry. If you know that the axis of symmetry is negative 3, and there's a point at 0 right here, there's going to be another point 3 units away over here that's going to be the mirror image of that point. That's what symmetry is all about. Okay? So if you want to, you can put in some other numbers, get more accurate by putting in other numbers, put in 1, put in 7, put in negative 5 and all that, and see all these other points on the graph. But you don't necessarily have to if you don't want to. If you want to, you can just learn to use your app here. And let's do this real quick. Hopefully I can do this pretty quick. So the equation is y is equal to, you're still able to see that? Maybe. Y is equal to x squared, x to the second power, plus 6x, plus 8. And when we graph that, see how quickly it graphs. It's a great app. This is really a handy app to have. So you can see that their graph looks like mine. Okay, so here's the question today. Here's today's question. Okay, so this is all stuff that you knew how to do yesterday. But here's today's question. Today's question was to solve this equation that was in blue to start with. When is all that equal to 0? All right, here's the question. When is f of x, or y, equal to 0? If you look at the graph, what do you know about any point where y is equal to 0, or where f of x is equal to 0? And just like when we found the x-intercept, okay, before we were finding the y-intercept. We were finding the y-intercept by letting x equal to 0. Now we want y equal to 0, so what we're finding is the x-intercept. In other words, the points I'm looking for, when this graph is equal to 0, when f of x or y is equal to 0, they're going to be the points on the x-axis.